I set myself the challenge to watch every single episode of Doctor Who ever made, from 1963 right up until the modern era. Today we are finishing off the 4th Doctor's era, and we're this far through the show overall. We're in season 18. Tired of running around the galaxy trying to hide from the Black Guardian, the Doctor and Romana decide to take a holiday to the Leisure Hive, a planet where you can relax by being pulled apart like a rag doll, except for when it doesn't work and you die. The Doctor of course tries it, and it doesn't work, but he doesn't die, he just gets aged up. Not like Sharda old, but like Rasputin old. Cactus called Meglos has transformed into the Doctor so that it can steal a rock from Barbara. Hi Barbara, what's new? Don't know why you left 20th century Earth to go to the planet Tigella, but how have you been? How's Ian? Don't tell me I'm sad. Meglos plans to use this rock, the dodecahedron, to conquer other planets, but its plans are hampered by the fact it keeps accidentally bi-generating into an accountant. On their way to return Romana to Gallifrey, the TARDIS accidentally enters a charged vacuum embointment, which leads them to exospace. For every regular coordinate in normal space or n-space, there is a negative coordinate in exospace or e-space, because as we all know, the further down you go, the further up you get. They land on the planet Alzarius, which is where Gallifrey should be in normal space. There they pick up their new companion, plucky young lad called Adric. Adric is one of a group of stranded aliens who have so far taken 40 generations to try and fix their crashed spaceship. Who knows exactly why it took them so long to fix it. Perhaps they originally thought they could get the whole thing done in a year, and then they realized that it's actually like 500 plus hours worth of content spanning 60 years, and when you factor in filming and editing YouTube videos on top of that, it's actually a massive time commitment on top of being a present husband and a father. Maybe. Or maybe they're just marshmen and they forgot. Still stuck in E-space, the Doctor, Romana and Adric find that one of the local planets is dominated by a ruling class of vampires. But these aren't the diamond-skinned, spiky-haired vampires we know and love today. These are horrific monsters that were all but wiped out in a massive galactic war with the Time Lords back in the early days of the universe. Adric makes the decision to swap sides and join the vampires against the Doctor and Romana, which is, of course, a terrible idea, until you realize that he's actually only pretending to swap sides, and he will in fact betray the vampires as soon as the right opportunity presents itself. This is, of course, an even worse idea, and ends up doing nothing to help. The portal out of E-space is an ancient gate that stands alone in an empty white void that is steadily shrinking. You can't tell that it's shrinking because a large white void looks exactly the same as a small white void, but K9 tells us it is, and we trust him. The Doctor fights a Robo-Knight again, 2 this time in fact, and Romana chooses not to leave E-space, instead opting to remain with K9 and Barf from Spaceballs. The planet of Traken is so inherently good that any evil creature that lands there is instantly caught like a fly in honey, or a melker. And the people of Traken are so nice that they even take care of these melker, bringing them flowers, talking to them, scratching those awkward itches that the melker can't deal with themselves. This finally backfires when the noble Cassia is corrupted by her melker and forced to kill by sticking felt eyes to herself and shooting in laser beams at people. Turns out this melker is not stuck at all. It's actually the Master's TARDIS, and inside, the Master is actually looking pretty good for himself, all things considered. When you remember that the last time we saw him he looks like this, he's actually improving. It's pretty much just him in a mud mask now. The Master tries to take over Traken, but is defeated by the Doctor, Adric, Cassia's husband Tremas, and Tremas's daughter Nyssa. In the process, however, the Master manages to kill Cassia and hijack Tremas's body, leaving poor Nyssa alone and orphaned. Although she's still got this guy, Luvic. He's lovely, so, you know. The Doctors finally decided to get the chameleon circuit of the TARDIS fixed by taking a trip to the planet of maths. This simple trip to the mechanics will end with us kidnapping an Australian flight attendant called Tegan, killing the Doctor and wiping out a quarter of the universe. For the duration of this story, the characters find themselves stalked by a being called the Watcher, a mysterious figure who always seems to be standing some 73 yards away. Midway through the story, the Watcher transports Nyssa from Traken to Logopolis for no given reason, although it's lucky he did, since the Master has disrupted the planet of maths and it's led to all sorts of horrible effects. For one thing, the Doctor has been miniaturized again for the 5th time I think this is now, but on top of that, disrupting these nerds' concentration has somehow caused the end of the universe, and a wave of entropy is spreading across the galaxy, destroying everything in its path, including the planet Traken. So not only is Nyssa now an orphan with her stepmother dead and her father being possessed by the Master, but now Luvik's dead as well. I made a point during the Horror of Fang Rock that story has something like a 230% mortality rate. The Doctor and Leela arrive and more than twice as many people die as were there when they actually showed up. But I think this story probably tops that. When you factor in 50 or so of the Logopolis inhabitants die during this, everyone on Traken, just doing some back of the napkin calculations here, plus 25% of the universe. Yeah, this one beats out Horror of Fang Rock and makes the Master the biggest mass murderer in the history of the universe. But as if that's not enough, the Master has to top it all off by killing the Doctor as well. While trying to fix the Master's mistake, the Doctor has to climb a radio tower and the Master causes the gangway to tilt, making the Doctor fall. Lying on the ground, dying of his injuries, the Doctor is saved by the Watcher, who was the Doctor the whole time, I guess? That's literally all we get.
He was the Doctor all the time.
Okay, how? In what sense? I'm guessing this is a callback to the characters of Choji and Campo Rinpoche from Planet of the Spiders. Campo Rinpoche was a Time Lord, and Choji was a projection of Campo's future regeneration. So when Campo died, he regenerated into Choji. And I guess that's sort of what the Watcher is to the 4th Doctor. I'm not sure exactly if that's what they were going for, but if it was, it's nice that they put that little reminder in of that delightful portrayal of an Asian stereotype. So the Doctor regenerates and wakes up as Peter Davison, who audiences at the time would know from his breakout role on the show The Tomorrow People. That's it for Season 18. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you for Season 19.